Welcome everybody to this Q&A on this beautiful Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Want to welcome David Towsley, the man. How you doing?
Hey Josh, hi everyone. I hope you had a great Memorial Day. I hope it was nice and relaxing and quiet for everybody.
Yes. Yes,
Good, good.
beautiful. Hopefully it was a beautiful day for everybody to remember our loved ones. Um, yeah, man. Have you been able to hear any of these reoccurring questions coming through lately? Like, are there any top questions coming out that we could talk about while people are getting started and putting their questions in the chat?
We could go over the glutathione again. I think that's a topic that's come up at the beginning of the last few Q&As. It's kind of a new ingredient within our product. So we could highlight some other stuff other than the detoxification aspect of it. It is a naturally occurring product within your body. But some people lack it due to a lack of sulfur-rich vegetables. So we definitely want to get the sulfur-rich vegetables within our products or within our food or within our diet. So it's something that can definitely help us because when we use or take glutathione or we don't have enough in our body, so we're going to go back to when we have a good amount in our body, it helps the body kind of get a good homeostasis so that it can have proper gene expression. It can help the proteins in the body synthesize themselves and repair themselves. So it can help to more rebuilding and repairing of the system. So it's definitely something we want to have in our body. And we want to also pair it with NAC, and that'll definitely help facilitate it. It's also a sulfur-rich item. So if you guys ever taste the sulfur-rich products, it probably just means you need it in your system. I tend to notice the people who taste that sulfur will be like, oh yeah, you definitely need the glutathione or you definitely need the richness of it.
Wow.
So yeah.
I love it, man.
Um,
That's awesome. And with glutathione, I've actually seen ads just for glutathione in my
yeah,
like Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, man. Looks like a couple questions came through. Hello, can Cardio Miracle help with dental issues? Do you want to
Oh
go
yeah,
on that?
that's a great question. So I actually had a tooth pulled and an implant put in about 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so it was pretty amazing. I definitely, stayed on top of the cardio miracle. And I think within about a week, I could already feel like the relief of the one, both areas healing quite progressively. I didn't have any more bleeding after about 3 days, and I was able to discontinue ibuprofen after about 3 days because I really like to stay away from all pharmaceuticals. And that's all I took was some like free and clear ibuprofen was
Yeah.
the best thing I could find to kind of, kill that pain.
Heck
But
yeah,
yeah,
man.
definitely getting the blood flow going.
What I do is with my teeth, because I have a lot of gums, so I've got smaller teeth, and so I just swish it in my mouth before I swallow. And what that does is going to activate the nitric oxide immediately in
Hmm.
your gums to help with the extra blood flow. It helps with the receding gums as well as stop that bleeding. So wonderful answer, man. I'm glad you're doing better, David. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, able to talk. I got to talk to a lot of people, so I needed that recovery to be as speedy as possible.
Yeah, man.
Even
Good
my
to
doctor,
hear.
after a week, she was like, "Oh wow, you're healing up great." So it was like amazing.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we got one about exercise. Awesome. So, best time to take Cardio Miracle before, during, or after exercises or meals.
So you can kind of play this to work for your own needs. But ideally, we want to take our first two scoops in the morning to kind of get our system going right, to kind of get everything moving and flowing, to get the blood flow within our system, and to kind of be uninhibited by other products or food products that we might have put within our belly. Now, that's okay because there are people who benefit from drinking this directly after a meal. Diabetics are one of those people. So people with neuropathy, diabetes, you can definitely, play with this, drink it after a meal, check your insulin levels, kind of see where you're at and see if it is helpful for you because we have gotten a lot of testimonies about this product being of help for those types of people. Now, if you are somebody who likes to work out and who is a peak performer or just a kind of a mid-level, you're going to notice your stamina increase with this. So you should definitely take it before, and you'll still get the benefits of the 24-hour nitric oxide production. So you're going to still help the cellular repair of your system as a post-workout as well. And then it's also going to help open up the cells. So if you want to take like a creatine, sometimes I mix creatine with my product to kind of help the creatine get in a little better. And absorption will increase because of the synergy of our product. So then when you go work out and then you want to consume a protein, it's also going to help you with the bioavailability of that protein because you're going to get more nutrition absorption out of your protein post workout. So it's going to benefit you post workout, whether you decide to take it pre or post. I definitely suggest taking it pre. I use it for competitive, like I had a tournament this weekend. I was out in the Florida heat all weekend, and I played multiple days, and there were kids in their 20s. They're like, wow, how did you do this? How did you play all these points both days?
You're
And I'm
paintball,
just
right?
like, yeah, and I'm just like cardio miracle. I had one guy tell me he's like, you're 37. I was like, yeah. He's like, you are a sporty 37-year-old. I was like, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So
That's
I'm just
awesome, man.
keep drinking my cardio miracle, 7 years strong now.
Love those. I'm telling you, I was challenged by Stan. Actually, we were talking about Stan the man earlier. He's one of
Yeah.
our senior consultants. He advised me actually to not take Cardio Miracle during my workout because when you're going in the workout and you're tearing down your muscles while you're lifting heavy, like I love to lift heavy, and he said this repairs everything. So it's going to repair those muscles. And so it is best to take before or after the workout and just drink water or whatever, or electrolytes, the BCAAs, whatever, during. And so it's just kind of play with that. Sometimes I take it while I'm on the bike, on the Peloton, helps me go a lot further. Like
Mhm.
I'm talking 15 miles to 25 miles because my endurance and my oxygen is up about 30%. So it's unbelievable how it's really helped me. But with my lifting, I'm increasing in weight. And so, David, you did say something about with the protein. Now, my sister
Mhm.
actually was like, I'm really nervous. I've been told that if I take Cardio Miracle with protein, like what's gonna happen, And is it gonna combust in my belly? And I'm like, no, it's just it's just gonna take a minute, like a minute or two longer to generate and sustain the nitric oxide because they're both fighting as they're
Yep.
producing in your gut. And so
Yeah.
it's not detrimental, but you want to make both of those products at their optimal level, of course. So did you have something to add, David?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's no, I don't really have much to add. You pretty much covered a lot on that one.
Awesome.
But
Okay.
pre-workout, if you compare it to a pre-workout, or specifically our nitric oxide blend, you'll find a lot of the same ingredients minus the beta alanine and minus the caffeine. And
Mhm.
both of those have negative effects on the cardiovascular system, anyway. So that's not really our focus. So you can still, get the benefits of a pre-workout. Use this in place of a pre-workout if caffeine or a pre-workout scares you.
Yeah, love it. All right, so we got hello from Smyrna, Georgia. I'm trying to use 2 scoops of Cardio Miracle 3 times per day. Sometimes I end up taking 3 scoops and at least 14 ounces of water twice a day. Is that okay? It's all okay, honestly. And so, like this right here, it's 2 packets in here, two of the single serves. So I will do even, yeah, I drank like probably down to here before I put two in here, so it's really red. And I've got a sweet tooth. Obviously, I've lost 180 pounds. So I like it more sweet, more tart myself. A lot of people like it more watered down. So it doesn't really matter how much water you take it in, but I very rarely take one at a time. So what about you, David? What's your regimen?
I like 3 scoops in the morning. 3 scoops is kind of perfect for me. And then 3 scoops later on. So it's kind of technically it's 3 servings a day, but it's a serving and a half each time. And
Awesome.
I'm kind of like you. I like mine a little tartar. I like it a little stronger, and only about a half a bottle of water. And
Yeah.
I find it to really have an impact on my cardiovascular system.
Heck yeah, man. I mean, sometimes when I'm driving, like because I used to drive like 18, 20 hours a day, like
Mhm.
go cross country. I would literally, if I was starting to get a little sleepy, I would put some in the single serve just on my tongue and just let it dissolve. And people are like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing?" But yeah,
Yes.
I would dry scoop it, man. It was kind of crazy, but for me, it worked. So
I mean, that's okay if I feel like that's okay if you're driving because you don't
yeah,
want to drink too many liquids
yeah,
while you're driving. So
exactly.
that seems like a good plan. I'm gonna try that actually.
Yeah,
Just
man. Yeah.
keep the
So
pack in my
someone
mouth.
asked, how long should they swish? So it really is up to you. We have proven in our studies, if you go to cardiomiracle.com/studies, we've proven in those Dr. Malinsky studies that nitric oxide begins generating in within 3/10 of a second once you put it in your mouth. And that's one of the other points of having it as a liquid, as a powder form, is so the absorption just gets going right away. And so, depending on how long you can keep it in there, I would say a couple seconds, 5, 10 seconds, you'll be fine. Would you recommend more than that, David?
Sometimes I like 30 seconds. I went a little bit longer after this surgery. I
Oh,
would
yeah,
drink a 30 seconds, swallow it another 30 seconds, swish it around. So
sure.
you can just kind of play with it. 30 seconds, I think, is a good rule of thumb to get going.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, something Lisa says on this next question, it's does this help lower high cholesterol? And Lisa always says she's so good about it. We don't treat, diagnose, or cure or anything. We don't claim that we do. We just have information. And so to answer your question, yes, we have gotten reports back from people that have lowered their LDL or their bad cholesterol with nitric oxide therapy. So it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. For me, I don't take less than 4 servings every single day. So I do that as a 300 pounder, and I keep my blood pressure. Like today, I tested it; it was at 106 over 60 today, and I don't test my cholesterol regularly, but I feel amazing. So I don't think I have a problem. But what would you say about that question, David?
So yeah, I have personal experience with this. My LDL was pretty high. My cholesterol was a 250. My triglycerides were a 420. And when I say that, people are like, "What?" Um,
Dang.
I was able to get those down to a 150 and a 160. And now I got some personal testimony about one serving a day. With that, I actually, when I got to that point, I kind of just got a little lazy. I went to one serving a day. And then a year later, I got my cholesterol tested again. I didn't change my diet much. And I watched both of those scores go back up about 50 points. So I
Wow.
immediately went back on the 2 servings a day. And that's when I started the 3 a day, was
Smart.
about a year ago, to able to drop those numbers. And they quickly dropped back down again too, once I got consistent again, because it's just something with my system and genetics. My cholesterol just likes to raise fast.
Yeah, man.
Must be it's the Italian in me, I guess. So my grandfather had it, my sister has it. My sister's very healthy minded too. She's like, I don't know
Sure.
how I have high cholesterol. So
Hey, man,
yeah,
there's worse things, but yeah, and with that, you take it first thing in the morning, correct? On a
yeah,
fasted stomach. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, dude, what I understand from those studies that they put the link in there, which is great in the chat. Um, if you'll read that on the vitamin D study, it actually vitamin D will triple in your system if you're taking this on a fasted stomach. So it's pretty remarkable what happens to the system when you are activating nitric oxide as strongly as Cardio Miracle does. So my next question from Paula is, does Cardio Miracle help with gut issues? And yes, I would say just point blank, it does help with gut issues because it's going to help cleanse the system. It's going to help your gut to be revitalized. Some people like to take Cardio Miracle or with a probiotic, and so it doesn't act necessarily, I wouldn't say necessarily as a probiotic, but it will help you detox if you need to and it won't be a super aggressive detox either. So, what would you say to that, David?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like a prebiotic. It's gonna help set the stage, especially if you want to add a probiotic. If you have any dysregulation of the gut or bowel movements, it can definitely help regulate that. There will definitely be some, or can be some detoxification in the beginning, for the people who have a dysregulated gut. I was in the military. I had a dysregulated gut when I got out, and it was something that I found myself, this product assisted me to help handle everything at one shot in the morning, essentially, instead of having struggles throughout the day because of just being irritable, I guess. So helping blood flow to the gut, helping regulation of the gut, it's going to assist tremendously.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And I went into this other section where we have more questions. Looks like someone had a liver transplant in March. And prior to the transplant, they used Cardio Miracle regularly. And they're positive that it's helped keep them healthy. And then post transplant, they were told by the transplant pharmacist that they should discontinue Cardio Miracle because of the pomegranate and turmeric. They said, I can't imagine the amounts would be so large that it'd be problematic. But what would you say to someone asking that, David?
Well, we don't ever want to counter medical advice, especially if your life is at stake.
Yeah.
Transplants can be a very tricky thing. We want to make sure that that organ stays set. I Common sense wouldn't say why would pomegranate and turmeric be an issue. But we all have to listen to our doctor sometimes, I guess.
Sure, yeah. And I will look up the exact amounts that are in here of pomegranate and turmeric for you. I believe that it is pretty small. And, I mean, we're talking about 58 ingredients in Cardio Miracle. And so with that, it's going to be five milligrams here, 15 milligrams there, kind of thing. And so it was just like, if you remember, with our last couple formulations, I don't know how many it's been. John's done like 9 variations or 8. And so we had a little bit of erythritol in the product, and people like, there was a study that came out in New York Times or something about how damaging erythritol is to like causing heart attacks and things like that. And so we're a very successful company for about 8 years before that study came out, and we always had erythritol in it. It was like the most like sought after, healthy, 0 calorie sweetener on the market. And so the fact that a couple of people kind of OD'd or did too much of the erythritol, they said people were taking upwards to like 250 milligrams a day of erythritol, like a meal or whatever. And they were having heart attacks. And so that, I love that what you said, David, common sense. I mean, it's like, like, but beforehand we were talking about flying cars and stuff like that. And if we're ready for that, and obviously common sense isn't really common in the world today. And so, yeah, look at the ingredients, see what you can do, see how you feel. That's the best thing that we could always just tell people. That's what we have, a 60-day money back guarantee that is taken advantage of less than 1% of the time. Is people need to take the product and see how they feel on it and kind of play with the levels. We always suggest 2 servings a day at least, but some people can get away with just 1 serving a day. It just depends on how you're feeling. So I get away with 4. David gets away with 3. It just depends on how you're feeling. So I would play around with it a little bit and see how you're feeling. So I hope that answers that for you. And thank you for being such a faithful Cardio Miracle user for sure. And another question came in about a colonoscopy in December, just a regular one, just for maintenance. How should I schedule my Cardio Miracle to work with the fasting cleansing protocol before colonoscopy? You want to take
So
that one? Or?
yeah, I'll start with that.
All
Well,
right.
with the colonoscopy, I'm sure they're gonna not want you to have anything for like at least what 8 to 12 hours before. I'm sure the guidelines or something like that. So it probably can't even go into that window, because the fear is when you intake a product that close, is that when you have your exam, it'll just come at you essentially, unexpected. So they try to, get your body's processes and stuff out of check before that. So yes, we can assist with, the assist with the fasting process or autophagy, but specifically a zero tolerance fast, I'll call it. We would want to probably avoid that for at least 12 hours, but I'm sure as soon as you get out of there, you can drink the product.
Oh yeah, yeah. And before colonoscopy, I had one as a routine, and I had to drink this thing that completely cleansed everything. I mean, it was brutal. And so, yeah,
Yeah, I've
I
heard.
would I would definitely take a little break and in between the juice that they make you drink before that. And it's not gonna it's the thing about it is if people do take a break from Cardio Miracle, we actually suggest that as when I was running the customer service department, um, I would actually suggest that to our customer service reps in South Dakota is I would tell them if people are saying they don't feel anything to go off the product for a couple days and see how they feel. And then 99.9% of the time the people get back on the product because and if they wouldn't, then they'd go to Amazon and buy more. So it's the thing is that again, just go with how you feel. You're not gonna hurt or disrupt anything, but I would definitely take a break from it because of all of the increased blood flow and all that. If you've been taking Cardio Miracle long enough and nitric oxide therapy, they're gonna see that it's it's pretty smooth and healthy, I would think. So another question came in, a really great question about lowering blood pressure. So
Mm.
that is one of our biggest testimonials consistently is not exactly lowering blood pressure as much as regulating blood pressure. And so like myself, mine tanked. I was 190 over 110, and now I'm 106 over 60. And I've been on nitric oxide therapy for 15 years, but prior to that, I wasn't. And even when I got up to my heaviest of 480 pounds, I would still the doctor would take the blood pressure like four times. They'd be like, "There's no way your blood pressure's this good." And I'm like, yeah, I take this product and whatever. And so anyway, just I had no excuse for being that heavy, but yes, it will regulate your blood pressure. So I had an ex-wife who took it who had low blood pressure and it helped regulate it to a healthy level. So
Mm.
it just depends on, what you wanna, how committed you are, but consistency is the name of the game. So what would you say about blood pressure, David?
Yeah, and I was somebody who didn't have an issue with blood pressure, and it's basically just remained the same for me. It didn't lower it, didn't raise it. There was no negative effect at all. Like I wasn't concerned about it going too low because I was taking nitric oxide. It just stayed the same, 100 over 70. It might have went down 5 points, maybe 105 over 100, but that's really it. It's just stays solid. Every time I go in there, it's right around 100 to 70. It's the same just about every single time. It's pretty amazing.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome.
So consistency
So
is great.
yeah, consistency is the name of the game. I tell everybody that it really doesn't matter, what you do. If you're consistent, you're good. So why did vitamin K2 get taken out of the ingredients?
So it's not actually taken out. We're not as specific on the label. It was 60 and 20 of K and then 60 of K2. It's basically remained the same. It's just all under one now as K. So it's the same. It's still a 60-20 split
Yeah,
for
so
micrograms. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Because that sometimes gets a little convoluted, but John has made sure to put in the vitamin K, the proper vitamin K in there that doesn't mess with people that are on Coumadin, cancer patients that are taking Coumadin. So it's not going to, do the blood thinner. It's not gonna interrupt that as we've not had any reports back, with 50,000 customers so far that have said that any of that has been detrimental. So
Yeah.
thank you for that question and answer. Someone said, how much Cardio Miracle would you need on deck monthly to take 4 servings a day? I've got my answer, but what do you say, Dave?
It would be 120. So you could go with like 180 serving and just have that ship every 45 days, and that would be your most cost effective at 229 for the 3 month ship. So it'd be 229 for a 45-day ship. And yeah, it'll change your health completely for the positive.
That's what I was gonna say, man. Good, brilliant minds think alike. That's the 180 serving is the best value, and I'm not just a salesman over here. I'm dead serious. That
Yeah.
180 serving, it's such a great value, and we want to make sure that everyone is getting the best value. We still have the May Day sale going on right now that we hopefully, Elizabeth can put that link in the question in the chat here. We got to take advantage of that sale, man. I mean, it's an incredible deal, and I want everybody to take a look at it. So, um, thank you, David. That was brilliant answer. About how long does it take to regulate blood pressure? Would
Okay.
you say?
So generally, well, I'm just going to start with the remodeling of the cardiovascular system. And we want to feed the cells in our body for 45 to 90 days. And this is going to be across the board with any natural product. Not being a pharmaceutical, we don't get those instant gratification or those instant results. It's something we really have to build upon. And it's great because no matter where we're at, we can build upon it. And every 45 days or so, our cells in our entire system kind of come back and repair themselves. They reproduce in hopefully a healthy manner if we're giving them the proper nutrition so that they can regulate themselves. And with the production of nitric oxide, it's going to help specifically the cardiovascular system, the veins, the arteries, the endothelial come back healthier with new cells so that you'll get better relaxation out of your veins, your arteries, your capillaries, better better nitric oxide production and better facilitation of oxygen. So you'll be able to breathe better. I've heard people with emphysema and sleep apnea also getting results from this, as well as just the benefits of the relaxation of the cardiovascular system through sleep. But, not to divert too much, yeah. 45-day cycles, we want to go 45 to 90 days. And that's generally where we see our best results for regulation of blood pressure with consistent use.
Heck yeah, thank you, thank you. Yes, and I would say 45 days is a good benchmark. We used to have with our last product that we represented, John Hewlett and I, John came up with this thing for the entire company. It was brilliant. It was called the 90-day challenge. And at 90 days, that is how long it took with this inferior product to work, pretty much, was 90 days. And so that's why we now have with Cardio Miracle a 60-day challenge. So that because we believe that, and we know the fact that it is so much more effective, the most complete nitric oxide product on the market today, that we know that we literally know that it will work within 60 days if taken as directed and if taken consistently. And so that's what our challenge to everybody is: try it, try the hope in the glass, try, like challenge us, let's go with it. It's exciting. And so it's pretty fascinating. So another question here: would Cardio Miracle help with a weak heart or a leaky valve?
Yeah, so it's gonna help strengthen the heart and the tissues within the heart. It's also gonna help kind of anything that's out of rhythm, or we should say, it's gonna want to regulate that and it's gonna want to fix that. So yeah, it's gonna go through all the tissues and all the cardiovascular system, repair them. So it could potentially, yeah.
Yeah, love it. Awesome, man. And another one, probably just piggybacking on top of that, is it good for lowering A1C?
Mm. A1C, yeah. So it's gonna assist you with anything within the blood. Anytime that you increase blood volume, you're gonna increase the effectiveness of the blood as well as its ability to glucose, insulin, as well as proteins in the blood, kind of utilize those, get those out of the system. So it will help. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why John decided, and I call my dad John just because we work together, but That's one of the reasons why he added the glutathione and the NAC and also the lion's mane is to help with these other blood markers because we've seen triglycerides regulate out, we've seen blood pressure regulate out, vitamin D off the charts, like get make sure that because they still say that the news and everybody that most people on earth are vitamin D deficient. And so we want to make sure that people are efficient in vitamin D. And that is the best way to get there is by taking Cardio Miracle. So someone's
Yes.
got a question that's hitting home for me. It says, is it good for MS, multiple sclerosis? And that that kind of hits my heart a little bit because I was diagnosed with MS in 2009 and I was diagnosed with 27 lesions on my brain and they told me that like I was not going to have full function of my right arm or my right leg again ever. And yesterday I repped out 405 in the gym 10 times. And so and and then I also my daughter, my 14-year-old wanted to bench press with me, and so I did 315 6 times and she was sitting there shaking like if you fail, I can't help you. So I wouldn't exactly say it can help with MS in particular, but it helped with every single one of my MS symptoms. And I'll just go out there and say it that the only thing different I did was go on nitric oxide therapy back in 2009 and within 6 months I got a follow-up MRI. They said I had no lesions on my brain. So that we can say that the lens was dirty or we can say I was misdiagnosed. Whatever is the best answer. I believe it gave me a second chance at life, but that's just me. So, David, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely played a role in the cell repair as well as bringing, blood to the source of the injuries or the lesions to kind of help them repair themselves, especially when they're such a sensitive area such as the brain. And, working on the nervous system, repairing the nervous system, that goes hand in hand with the cardiovascular system because it takes the nervous system to tell the cardiovascular system to function and to regulate properly to produce nitric oxide. So, in turn, to produce more nitric oxide, your body's going to be like, okay, I need to repair this system. Oh, I have nutrients to do it because of this product that has everything in it. So, therefore, it's going to
Awesome.
help reduce inflammation within the nervous system. And like you said, it's going to help those symptoms. It's going to help alleviate those one by one.
Love it, man. Thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, can you put 2 servings in a 40-ounce bottle and drink it over several hours? Absolutely, yes. And that this is just going to help you get more liquid in and help you be more hydrated. And I even tell people that we've tested putting it in a pitcher, putting a couple scoops in a pitcher, and keeping it over a 10-day period. And
Mhm.
so we just suggest leave it in your car. You don't put it on a windowsill or whatever, and you should you should be fine. So someone joined late and they said they wanted me to just do a quick summary of taking Cardio Miracle before or after eating protein, and really we just suggest just separating it before or after protein about 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on how much protein you're eating and what kind of protein you're eating, and so it's again, it's not going to be detrimental to you. It's not going to, combust in your system. It's just going to be delayed a little bit in the nitric oxide per generation and the sustainability. But would you add anything to that, David?
No, and then again, it's kind of if there's somebody who's a diabetic, take it with whatever food possible to help the cell uptake of glucose, insulin, and the A1C, make sure you're taking it consistently so that because that's a long-term number, you kind of keep that number down. Again, that goes into glucose and insulin, and just keeping it regulated, keeping the
Awesome.
blood healthy constantly.
Awesome, David. You're the man, David. I love it, man. You're so knowledgeable. Just all of it. No, we love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. We've hit the 35-minute mark. If you have any questions that we did not answer, please hit us up at support@cardiomiracle.com. and we will answer every single question that you have. Please join us again in another couple weeks. Would love again for Elizabeth if she could just put the you know, put the May sale back in the chat. That would be fantastic. Just to remind everybody that it's it's going away at the beginning of June, I think June 2nd or 3rd or something like that. So anyway, we love you guys. Anything to end there, David?
No, I think we covered a lot of areas, a lot of stuff. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Thanks for your time, David. You're the man. Have a great night.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate you
everybody,
guys.
thank you so much.